So welcome everybody. Another day in Mayapur. Beautiful weather. It's a nice. It's cool in the night. We can sleep nicely. We may still with a blanket. In the daytime, there's warm sunshine. Everything is very bright. Everything is beautiful. We have tons of visitors and tons of opportunity to preach in Mayapur because there are so many visitors. And if you're a foreigner, you're a white elephant, probably. So today we are very, very fortunate to have with us Devaki Mataji. Devaki Devi Dasi. She's a disciple of Niranjana Swami, and she's also the founder of the Institute for Spiritual Culture. She's born in Germany in 1958. She joined ISKCON in Sydney, Australia in 1985. She helped pioneer the first organized temple in the former Soviet Union. And since 1999, she has been living the life of traveling preacher, spending 5 months per year in India, Bangladesh, and the other 7 months in various countries. Welcome. We are happy to have you with us in Radio Mayapur, and you are very famous all over the world. And so I thought those would be a nice way to inspire our listeners to do a podcast with you. Thank you for coming and accepting our offer, Mataji. So, the first question I want to ask you is that you are preaching all over the world. So what type of topic you are preaching? Because I see you doing mostly a lot of related preaching to the, grihastha families and to vanaprastha, and also about the chanting of the holy name. In 2024, you hosted a chanting retreat in West Bengal in HH Dam. So tell us a little bit about the work you're doing in HH Dam and around the world to inspire the people in the mission of Lord Chaitanya and the mission of Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, thank you for for giving me an opportunity to be here and say a few words.
It's a pleasure.
So, well, let me maybe begin by sharing that for over 20 years I've been very involved in Bangladesh. And that actually has really transformed my personal practice and worldview, and also my outlook on life, and also, of course, my preaching.
They say one of the happiest countries in the world is Bangladesh. It's a poor country. Yes. And people think, how is it possible that poor people can be happier than the rich people? But it's possible.
Well, the special thing about Bangladesh is that, we can really experience Vaishnava culture, the sweetness and beauty of the culture. It's so much more lived there than anywhere else, actually.
Maybe because the Hindu population is reduced to very small, and they are like the larger population is Muslim or other. And so they feel like being helping each other. Could be that the reason?
Maybe also. That's why a lot of Hindus take shelter of ISKCON, definitely. Yes. But also, I of course know last year there was quite a bit of disturbance, in Bangladesh, so I couldn't go last year. And I don't even want to get into that.
No, sure.
But in principle, the fact that it is a Muslim country has actually preserved our Vaishnava culture.
Yes.
Because the Muslims are not so open towards all the modern Kali Yuga ideas. So it is extremely traditional. When I travel there, it feels like entering Chaitanya Charitamrita, actually.
I did travel for many years too, since 1980.
Okay.
And we bought the deity of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami place.
Yes,
and I think because before Bangladesh was part of India, and Lord Chaitanya had many disciples himself, travel in those areas. Yes. So there are many holy places in Rupa and Sanatana and many other, Narottama Thakur and many other people, the great Vaishnavas.
So it has a very strong heritage of Vaishnava culture.
Yes.
And I kind of received the realization that actually we are not quite there yet in living what Prabhupada has given us. We are learning it and repeating it and quoting it and studying it, but we are not quite there yet in living it.
We are work in progress, Mataji. We are still young, the same. ISKCON is 50 years, so
exactly.
It's not, we cannot push too hard.
No, it's all a question of gradual transformation.
Yes.
So, and that's what inspired me to establish this Institute for Spiritual Culture, because I realized not everybody is so fortunate that they can spend so much time in Bangladesh. So that's why I felt devotees actually need some training, some education, how to live, our Vaishnava philosophy. So, and also, I kind of feel that people often just read about the Bhagavatam, which is great if they do it at all, but they read over things. Like, for example, my latest book is on the Vanaprastha ashram. So Bhagavatam is full of strong, very clear statements. But yet, where is it? It's not really established. I call it the forgotten ashram.
Yes, correct.
So I feel people need some complementary literature which makes Prabhupada's teachings more accessible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I started reading your book, and it's very interesting. I'm a Vanaprastha for many years, it's very well written, I should say, with quotes and stuff. And
yes.
Very inspirational.
Yes, I mean, all my books are completely based on Prabhupada, simply trying to unpack more what Prabhupada actually says.
Yes.
So, and this is also, of course, my humble preaching mission too, that wherever I go, all my topics are related to the practical application. And I must admit, not wanting to, boast here, glorify myself, but people often say to me, wow, nobody talks about these topics. Like one of my favorite topics is the false ego, then envy, how it manifests towards seniors equals juniors, prajalpa. This is a big topic now with social media, internet.
So much.
Oh my God. So, and then of course, holy name also, to actually get on deeper levels of chanting. We take things often very external and superficial just rattling down the round somewhere.
I think the desire of the people to go deeper is each individual person, because some people maybe they get into spiritual life and they think, oh yeah, it's nice, it's wonderful, I feel happy, because the first symptom of spiritual introduction to enter into spiritual life and chanting the holy name is that you feel released or happy.
Yeah.
But then how to go deeper and how to improve every day, how to become the best format of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is practicing Krishna consciousness on a daily day, on a basis of, it's not like you reach one level and say, that's it, I am.
Yes.
No, so we should never be satisfied, and this is very important.
Yes. And I mean, Prabhupada wrote these famous letters in 72 where he says, we should boil the milk.
Correct. Yes.
So I'm definitely in the boiling the milk mood.
Of course.
I sometimes do a little bit of outreach too, but for me it's so much more satisfying to try and inspire the practicing devotees.
Yes.
And also the books are all for practicing devotees. They're not to be distributed.
No, of course. The people will not understand.
Yes.
So that's very nice.
Yes.
I think it's a very important work, and Prabhupada will be very pleased with what you're doing, because if we can even bring people one closer step to Krishna, or inspire them to become more serious, or forgive everybody's, we are not perfect, we know. Yeah. Forgive ourselves and forgive others and move on. Try to look the best aspect of people. Everybody's trying to engage in devotional service and do the best they can. Yes. And we have different levels, as you know, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti. So it's very important for the devotee to understand, where am I now? In which level? And now can I go to the next level? Exactly. So this is as a scientific process.
Yeah. And I mean, the Holy Name Retreat in Ekachaka, I've been doing this for about 12 or 14 years every year. So I used to do even 2 per year, but now I'm just doing 1 per year. It's every year over Christmas. I already booked the place for this year, 24th to 28th of December.
Nice.
And it's a very sweet and deep experience, especially if people switch off their mobile phone.
Yes.
Then you actually can enter a different reality.
It's true.
If we have this mood, the holy name is everything. Everything else can wait until after the retreat. It's very powerful. Just going in seclusion, leaving everything behind, and I keep my audience busy. You know, we have a pretty tight schedule, but yeah, there's exercises and sharing and role plays and so many things.
What number of people participate? And
how many?
Yeah.
Well, I can only have
more or less
50 people. There's not more accommodation than 50.
Yeah.
And 50 is almost a little too much. I mean, this year we were 42 or something because there was a lot of things parallel to Bhag Maharaj's Vyasa Puja and Indigenous Swami was here, Niranjana Swami Vyasa Puja, Hari Sori Prabhu's daughter's wedding.
So many things happening.
Yeah, so we were 42, and I actually felt it was better than last year when we had 50 or 52 or something. But yeah, I don't have more accommodation there. I booked the whole temple of ISKCON temple.
Can you tell us a little bit about Eka Chakra for people who do not know? Because this is a very holy place. And I know I have been there many times.
Yes, well, it is Lord Nityananda's place of appearance, and there's beautiful holy places there. And on the first day of arrival, we do go around on parikrama and we beg Nityananda for mercy and so on. You know?
It's a very special place. I feel like a very special place.
Yes.
Because it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not in the city.
Yeah.
It's in the countryside.
Yes, it's
very
a
peaceful.
Perfect place for a retreat. Even though now where our beautiful big ISKCON temple is open, I mean, that's like the jewel of a whole Eka Chakra, you can say.
Beautiful.
So it attracts a lot of people, you know. So when I did it first time, this was, I can't even remember, you know, when it was, maybe 2010 or 12. So then they hadn't even started building the new temple. It was very simple, very quiet. So now it is more
active.
Yeah, more active, more noisy. But we built a little pandal on top of the new temple behind the dome. So that's our bhajan kutir.
Beautiful. So it's very peaceful up there, no noise.
It is, yeah.
People don't come.
Yeah, and I make the pandal like that there is some open space where you can look out over the fields and onto the Goshala there in the back. Nice. Very nice. And we have some evening kirtans where we apply what we discussed during the day.
Very nice.
So it's a very nice and sweet experience.
And also when you have a small group like this, you can actually be personal.
Yes.
You know, and then you can really touch.
And I mean, people come from all around the world, from Europe, South America, South Africa, we had some there, from India, from Russia, and, you know, from everywhere,
mixed group.
basically. Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
So it's really United Nations, you know.
We are the United Nations of the spiritual world.
Yes.
Also in 2024, you held the Children Are Our Future seminar in Mayapur.
Yes.
And tell us about that a little bit.
Well, that's the last course of my series of 5 courses. And again, I actually received the inspiration to even preach about children in Bangladesh, because there I had this one episode where I took one lady with her 10-year-old son to Bangladesh. This is many years ago. And this boy was known not to be a devotee. You know, he was the typical sleepy, uninspired Kali Yuga kid who didn't want to go to the temple and was sleeping till 9 o'clock in the morning. And so people were saying, why do you take him to Bangladesh? He's not even a devotee. But then we were there for 3 weeks. And this boy came to life. Oh, it was amazing. Yes, he was there for every Mangalari and yes. And why? Because the brahmacharis were so nice to him. Yes, I arranged that he was staying with some senior
nice
devotees in the room, and they trained him up how to take his bucket bath there. And they gave him so much attention, so much affection, probably more than this boy received in his whole life.
Love is all you need. And the famous song.
Yes, and they included him in everything.
Part of their family.
Yes, he knew one Hare Krishna tune on the harmonium. So on every Panda program, he had his little number where he was singing, and he was like the big attraction of the whole preaching party was him. And he was thriving. He was flying. He was in ecstasy. His mother was shocked. She was saying, what the hell happened to my son? I can't recognize him. So that was my eye-opener, that I realized we are doing something wrong with our children. Yes. And in Bangladesh, it's really like that every temple has...
sweet.
Yeah, every temple has a solid kids department. So the kids have their place. And, and especially the brahmacharis, they're like the heroes for the boys.
Yes.
And they interact with them. Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhu, what's your name? Oh, you ate already. And oh, wow. And, so then the kids grow up. I want to be like him. Yes. So, and
they have an inspirational model.
Yes. And the kids are the center. Because, see, this is what happens in a culture where sense gratification is the overall goal in life. Kids are disturbing. They're pushed aside. They're a hindrance. They're seen as a hindrance in the grown-ups' sense gratification. And in spiritual culture, it's the opposite. The kids are the future. There's a center. Everybody interacts with them. Like many years ago, when my right-hand man in Bangladesh, he was 27, 28, brahmachari. Now he's over 40. So he was once saying to me, preaching to the kids, more important than university preaching.
Of course.
And at that time, I didn't know these things. And I said, oh, really? Unusual to hear from a brahmachari.
Yeah.
And I said, really? Why is that? And he said, well, child, that's where we have to plant the seeds. Once the people are at university, they have already so many bad habits and materialistic impressions and but child, that's where you have to start. And I was impressed. I thought, my God, you would never hear that anywhere else in the world from a 27-year-old brahmachari having such a vision, Yes. Wow. All these things I learned there.
Nice.
How the children are really the center. And His Holiness Bhakti Pushpa Maharaj, he has been introducing student preaching kids programs, and he's doing all these kids competitions there and all these things. So and that really inspired me to preach about this. And in this course, we are not only giving all kinds of aspects of how to train the children, but really the main emphasis is we have to change our attitude.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, on my travels around the world, I often see temples have nothing for the kids, nothing at all. They're bored out of their brains. They don't even want to go to the temple. They don't have a place. Or if there is a program for the kids, it's more in the mood of a babysitter program just to get the kids out of the way so the parents can have the fun in the temple room. And people don't put their heart and soul into the kids' programs and really giving them something, And often it's just cartoons on the screen, so that shuts up the kids. They're sitting there all mesmerized and, having all this visual stimulation raining on them, So yeah, very
I
sad.
think it's an art also to preach to children, small children, and all variety of age. How to put them together and make them, into something fun for them to do, like drama or something which can interest in them.
People have to be creative.
Absolutely.
But often, even the grown-ups
are
not very creative.
Yeah.
See, I grew up without a television. My parents had very good intelligence.
They removed the television.
Yeah, we never had one. Yeah. I mean, television now is outdated technology, but in my childhood, television was the big new thing. I was the only kid in the school who didn't have a TV. But my parents, they really engaged us in creative ways. We had books. My mother was every evening reading a story. And so, yeah. When people watch things on the screen, it makes
them dull.
Yeah, it makes them very dull, and the whole visualizing function is debilitated.
Apart from that, I would think also the modern society is promoting this fact that both husband and wife, they work. So your kids, they are with somebody, some foreign, somebody that you don't know them, and they don't know your kids, and what is their interest in your kids? It's just their teacher in the school, they're getting a pay, they're trying their level best to teach something, but because there is no law in the transmission of knowledge, so the children become against the authority, against the school, disrespectful to teachers, and the teacher, they don't have this compassion of seeing them like their own son and daughter, so that transmission of knowledge is not there anymore. And basically, family are broken.
Yes. I mean, I had the good fortune. My mother parked her whole professional life. She never worked while we were three kids. She only went back to her professional work after we left home to study. And she really gave us quality time. I mean, I actually owe my life to my mother. Definitely. She planted the seed of bhakti in my heart, even though she was not a devotee as such, but she was very religious and spiritually inclined and so on.
I can say the same thing with my mother. She never worked. She was a housewife, and my father go to work. I didn't have much contact with my father. He was working as a metrotel in a 5-star hotel, so he leave 6:30 in the morning, come back 3 o'clock in the afternoon, go back 6 o'clock, and come back 11 o'clock in the night. So when did I see my father? And he works on Saturday, Sunday, holiday, Christmas, he always worked. But my mother, she gave us so much love. We were 4, and she told a story. She teaches us to stitch your own button, cook, clean your shoes, do every possible things with love.
And also the mothers really give that emotional security and confidence.
Always.
The emotional health,
Yeah, we remember we sometimes fall down from the bicycle, come all scratched up. No problem, don't worry, we put some medicine and you will be all right.
Also, let me share in this kids course, we actually start with Garbhadan Samskar.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, not that I'm a huge expert in it, in these samskars, but at least, we bring attention to that. We give all different things and how to prepare and how to meditate in a prayerful way and do something extra in our spiritual life, And
the
really,
desire of the mother and father to have a child. It's not happening by mistake. It's not happening just by having sex. It's like we are consciously desiring and praying on the Lord that He sends some special soul in our family.
All this awareness is not
there.
that much there yet.
No.
And even the fact that the child hears everything in pregnancy,
Of course, inside the womb.
Yes. I once met in South India one family. She told me during her pregnancy she was chanting every day the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita aloud, just the Sanskrit. And at that time, the boy was 5. And without any further training, when the parents were chanting this chapter
he knew it.
and stopped anywhere, he knew the next verse, just from hearing in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, when I met them, Of course, everybody knows Prahlad Maharaj heard in the womb. And I thought, of course, sure, Prahlad Maharaj would. Why wouldn't he? But I was not clear that this is really happening today too with everybody. You don't have to be Prahlad Maharaj or something.
No,
So, this kind of knowledge people have to get, and how consciousness, the mother's consciousness, the child completely gets. It's even in the mother's milk, it's her consciousness.
Course. Everything.
Yeah, all these
including
things.
The food they eat. In fact, they have some special diet, so will not hurt the child. Too spicy, too hot, or too sour.
Yeah.
And my wife is from South India, so I learned all these things.
Yes, this knowledge has to be given to people, Yes.
And Prabhupada said everything is written in my book.
Yeah,
so just by reading the Bhagavatam, you will learn about this.
Yes.
Yeah, but you are categorizing all these things in your wonderful books.
Yeah, I try and make it more accessible. Also, often these quotes are spread throughout the whole 12 cantos. So I'm putting them all together in systematic order and elaborate more and give examples so people can more practically understand.
Some people, they say, oh, Bhagavatam, I read it, it's too long, I forget.
Prabhupada's books are the law books.
For the next 10,000 years, Prabhupada say.
For the whole world, not only for part of it.
No, for the whole world.
But we still need something, to make the law books practically accessible. That I kind of feel.
For sure. Wonderful.
So that's my humble ambition.
So, and you also tell us about the program, and you work also on marriage counseling. Sometimes you do a program where you can explain how the people can counsel, because in a couple always there is some problem or some.
Yeah, I have one course. By the way, this is also as a book.
Yes,
Sheltering
beautiful
relationships.
Books.
This is all about the importance of mentorship.
Yes.
Yeah. That's also such an important topic. For so many years, we were not aware of this, and we may still not fully be aware of it, how important it is to have a mentor. That just having a Diksha guru is not sufficient enough. Because our gurus have hundreds and thousands of
disciples. And they're traveling all over the world.
Yes. And they cannot possibly know each and every person's practical situation in life. So we need somebody who is more experienced than us and who guides us, who helps us balancing things. And actually, this, giving shelter and accepting shelter, this is like Guyam Akyati Prachyati.
It's one of the rules.
Yeah, it's the two loving exchanges Rupa Goswami is giving, that we are inquiring confidentially and somebody is speaking confidentially. And in the purport to that verse, Prabhupada says, a more experienced devotee explains, a less experienced devotee learns from him. So that is nothing else but mentorship.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, in that course, it becomes clear that without having a mentor and eventually becoming one to others, we remain kanishtas, actually. Yes. We don't really progress. And I always like to give this example with Bharat Maharaj. His problem actually was he didn't have a mentor. Yes. He was all alone in the forest there. So even on the level of bhava, where we have transcendental emotions, we can, fall back to material attachments.
Absolutely.
Yes. And he didn't have anybody who said, hey, let the deer be deer and get back to your sadhana. He got carried away with the deer there. Yeah. So that should be a warning how important it is on any level of advancement. And for some years, I was a member of the GBC Strategic Planning Devotee Care Committee.
Still there? Should be there. Somewhere.
Nothing
but they're
really
not
happening there anymore. It kind of was a whole hype for some years. Oh, yeah, we need devotee care. But people often have a very shallow understanding what it means, and they think, oh, if somebody is in the hospital and I go and bring him prasadam, I'm doing devotee care here. But no, the basis is sheltering relationships.
Right.
That we should all have one person in our life where we can go and share our innermost struggles and fears, where we know this person has no other motive, no other interest except helping in my spiritual journey. Absolutely. Even no managerial interest.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Because otherwise it deviates your...
Yeah, we can easily be too project-focused. Yes. But we have to be more people-focused, understanding that a project is consisting of people. Yeah. And if we care for the people, they will give their heart and soul. But if we only look what the project needs, then people feel like some hired hands here, and they will move and go somewhere else. They will feel nobody is actually interested in my spiritual journey. And I mean, coming to married life, any marriage problem can be solved if both are willing to accept guidance and work on themselves rather than pointing the finger at the other side and always blaming the other person. This is what happens, that he blames her, she blames him, and then people are not willing to work on themselves and accept guidance, and they rather split.
Actually, marriage life means a lot of tolerance and understanding and opening your heart. It's called heart surgery. Because who is closer to you than your wife or your husband who can find out why you're doing this or why you're doing that, because you're living 24 hours together. But let me tell you that one of these, what you're proposing, I can see very successfully done in Chopati Temple by Radhanath Maharaja. He has set up a system which is very, very, very successful, I should say, because I see 50,000 people coming to Mayapur and they're like soldiers. It's like, they're doing it. It's Maharaj saying, okay, we leave in 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, everybody's there with the kids, the husband, with the children. And they all have a mentor. They all have a mentor. So what you say is very, very valid point.
See, Niranjana Swami took that whole idea from Chowpatty and he brought that to Ukraine. So now, of course, Ukraine is a whole mess.
It's a big mess with the war.
Yeah, but I was involved there for over 20 years and I witnessed,
things changing.
Yeah, Niranjana Swami put his blood and sweat and tears into this to establish the whole mentorship system there. And it was functioning so well. It was such an amazing community. We had these Bhakti Sangam festivals. Where there was
I've been there.
Oh, you've been there?
Yeah, I've been there.
12,000 people.
War,
12,000 people came together.
Beautiful and with their own.
And not from Hindu background. They were all locals. I mean, this is unique in the Western world to get 12,000 people coming.
And I saw the people cutting potato and sabji in the rain and the kirtan next to them. I said, I can buy a machine. I said, no, we like to do this. This is our service. So sweet, so nice.
So, and that's where my inspiration came from, because also Niranjana Swami is my
spiritual master.
So, and I witnessed how this gives so much stability to devotees' personal life, to the communities. It keeps the whole divorce rate really low. They have a very low divorce rate, at least before the war, But now, unfortunately, this is all...
we hope it will soon end. But this brings to my mind that, for example, Ramanujacharya had 13 different guru, not Diksha, but Siksha. So he consulted himself. Many different guru for Shastric reference, for Sanskrit, for grammar, for poetry, for music. So there's nothing wrong in accepting a Siksha from a senior devotee who can inspire us in Krishna consciousness and guiding our life. I was fortunate. I have always had the association of many great senior devotees here in Mayapur.
Yes.
So whenever I had a problem, I was bewildered.
Yes.
Oh, I want to run away. They say, okay, sit down here.
Yeah, we need
stop.
this. We need this.
They saved my life many times.
Yes.
So that's
yeah,
wonderful.
I mean, a mentor or counselor, how they say more in India, can really save our spiritual life, because so often it happens there's some misunderstanding, some conflict, people get offended, walk out, never to be seen again.
Also because there are different culture. Let me tell you a small short story in America. You know, one American person is married with a Sicilian South Italy wife. And so when they cut the bread, the Sicilian wife giving always the last piece of the bread, which according to her, this is the best piece of the bread.
Okay.
But he thought, she's offending me. Why is she giving me? So they went for divorce. And then the person who's counseling say, well, why you want to do? Because she's not respecting me. She give me always the last piece of bread. And she said, in our culture, this is the best part of the bread, which I'm giving to you. Then he completely, revive and change his mind. But sometimes different culture, different background. So we have to be able to open and speak and say, okay, I didn't understand this. Can you explain this to me? Because we are coming from different part of the world. So it's not difficult.
Yeah,
so wonderful. That's a nice program you're doing. Okay, you also have a significant global area you cover in your preaching program. What country are you currently active in, and what program do you carry out there?
Well, see, now where I have published 6 books,
yes,
I'm really going all over the place.
But you've been invited by some devotees in some different country?
I mean, I kind of invite myself.
I like that.
I just write to people.
And say, I'm coming.
At that time, I could possibly come, and I give them a list what topics I like to present.
Right.
So, and then I see, and I always pay my own tickets up front. I never ask anybody to pay my tickets.
Yeah, of course.
And I simply rely on the fact if I serve devotees nicely, they will respond by giving a donation. And
that's the best.
Do. So, yeah, works very nicely.
But which country you go? Australia, New Zealand, South America,
sometimes.
Africa, I don't know.
No,
I
mean, the only country where I have not been is South America.
Oh, okay.
But otherwise, I spend a good portion of time in Europe. But like this year, I go 6 weeks to the US, and then I go to Mauritius and to Kenya. Last year, I was in South Africa, did a whole tour there. Then 2 years ago, I did a tour around Australia and New Zealand. But I'm basically every week in a different country or different city. Yeah.
Nice.
I usually arrive on Wednesday and leave the following Wednesday. So that's my program.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. I mean, also you don't want to burden people too much, by staying for too long and so on. And everywhere I go, I send books up front. I don't go anywhere without books.
Of course.
And then I give some presentations. I have a book table there, and the books fly out like hotcakes. So it's the best way how to get these books into people's hands, because how much can people remember if you give a lecture?
Yeah.
But if they have a book, of course they still have to read it, which is also a bit of a challenge. These days, their main book is Facebook.
Yeah.
So, but because they're relevant and practical topics, I do get a lot of feedback that people actually read them. Yes. And now I'm 66, so I'm thinking, let me use the last 2 years where I have the health and energy, because it is quite an intense life.
Of course.
Every week you go
place.
somewhere else. I mean, Mayapur is the only place where I stay longer than 1 or 2 weeks, Yeah. So, that's why I even go to places where I've never been before. Mauritius will be first time. Kenya will be first time. I wanted to put in Nigeria, also in Ghana, but it didn't fit in because July I have to be back in Europe and I go to some festivals there. So but that keeps me busy.
Busy,
you
yeah.
know, and I'm kind of really on this mission of trying to get the books in people's
Have you ever
hands.
thought of making those books available on Kindle, like in a soft copy,
It is.
audio format? Because nowadays people also don't read, but they can hear.
Yes.
So they
they are available on Kindle.
Okay.
But many people, I find, they do prefer to have a book in their hands.
Yes.
Audio, quite a few people ask me, so I'm thinking I will do that when I'm getting too old and tired to travel.
Now with artificial intelligence, you can put the whole book and they'll translate. You can choose the voice and then you can they can read it. Yeah. There are devotees who can do this service.
Really? I didn't
here
know
in
that.
Mayapur
See,
itself.
I'm not so in tune with all these things.
No, me too. We are old, but
it sounds like I'm reading it.
Yeah, same.
Really?
You can choose. See, in a computer, you can put this whole format. You have it in Kindle, and you say make this into an audiobook, and they ask you what voice would you choose. They have ladies, gents, accent.
Well, people always say best is if the author reads it.
Yeah, but it's taking a long time.
Yeah,
but
so
artificial intelligence, you can
imitate my voice.
Yeah, you can put inside the computer your voice, like you read few paragraphs, and they will make it with the same accent.
Wow, that sounds
good. So
this
is artificial intelligence.
Yes,
we use all these tools nowadays because otherwise,
it's great. I mean,
because it's important.
You have to give me some contacts.
Okay,
here
I'll find it and give it to you. Sure.
Yeah, because quite a lot of people asked me about it. They said, I like to hear while I'm driving and this and that. But
I know. This is such a nice work.
Yeah.
And I was wondering whether you have a WhatsApp group where people will write to you, feedback, and say, or would you send a message? I'm sending a message. I have more than maybe 400 people between Italy and around the world with our travel. I keep it, it's a morning, like auspicious thought of the morning, and I take one Prabhupada quote, small, short paragraph, and I translate it into Italian and into English. It's already in English, and I send it to them. So, and they read this auspicious when they wake up in the morning. They read it and say, "Oh, it's nice. This gives me so much hope that we can." Some friends, family.
I am living without a phone.
Okay.
I don't want to have a phone in my life.
But you can have one of your assistant or some young devotee who can do that for you.
What I have is I do have a Facebook page of my Institute for Spiritual Culture.
Yeah.
And I do send a diary, a traveling diary.
That's nice.
But sometimes I'm just too busy. I don't even get time to write. But on that Facebook page, one Mataji is managing it. So she either takes parts of the diary or she just takes parts of my books.
But you can tell her if she can make a WhatsApp group and take one quote every day from different book you wrote and say, this is inspirational. And send it.
I'm not sure if she would have the time.
I don't know.
She's got
Maybe she can find somebody who can do that because it's not difficult,
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I am not so on social media at all.
It's all right.
Yes. So, but I'm, kind of relying on the fact since I'm personally going to
that's
so
very
many
important.
places, and I've got the books. And, I mean, just to give you an idea, last year I was in Pune, 2 weeks. There's 4 communities.
Yeah.
I distributed 645 copies in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
those devotees are eager to absorb this knowledge.
Yes.
So wonderful.
That's the way how to get them out. If I would just put them in temple shops or something, people would not pay much attention.
No, because there are
them.
Thousands of books.
Yes, but if people, attend a program, they like the mood and the topic of the speaker, then they get the books. Yeah.
But can you tell us your Facebook, maybe, where people can contact you and buy those books?
Well, they can't buy it there.
Oh, okay. No, but they can contact somebody to say, okay, could you send me a book? I am in Italy, for example. I would like to read this book.
Sometimes people write to me an email and ask, and then I tell them where they may be able to get them.
You'd like to share your email? And this
of course.
You can tell us.
Yes, that's Devaki, Devaki, at pamho.net, PAMHO.net. And I do answer every email.
Nice. That's very important because we want people to contact you to accept, to purchase those books.
Yes.
And apart from this, how can the devotee support your effort to spread Krishna consciousness? Because we are speaking to the wide audience of the world. So, my dear friend, if you want Devaki Mataji to come to your place, please send her an email and invite her to come to your temple, or to your congregation, or to your house, and all the programs. That's one way.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. That's why I'm, for example, always keen to be there at the ILS. I will give a presentation about the Vanapasasha. I have a stall, even though this year the stalls were pretty expensive, but I thought, no, let me invest into it. So, and there I'm meeting people, I take contacts and so on, So definitely, if people are open to receive me, as I said, I even pay my own tickets. You don't have to worry about that.
Just give me some prasadam, some place to sleep.
All I need is a place to sleep, and I'm a little bit on a special diet also.
It's okay.
But it's pretty simple. So, and also, getting the books, distributing them, to friends or something. I have a few people who are big fans of the topics, and they often get a whole lot. And
okay, one more question I want to ask you. Are you training your successor? Let's say, are you training some Mataji or Prabhuji or whoever it is that can, from your mood, take the nectar and continue this preaching? Or maybe like Prabhupada say to Mukunda Maharaj, go and open a temple in London, something like you go and continue the preaching because we are getting old. We can't travel anymore, maybe at one point in time after 20 years. But are you training somebody with you? Which would be very nice.
When I established that Institute for Spiritual Culture, I was in that illusion that I would find some teachers who help me teach these courses. But then I realized that actually one needs quite deep realization to actually teach them. It's not like something
it's not just
like
learning the
it's not like
geography
teaching
or history.
Bhakti Shastri or something and you just teach it, but now you actually have to have the realization. So far, I could not really find anybody who really wants to take this up to teach these things.
But keep your eyes open because there are people who are potentially capable.
I mean,
especially grihastha who have been going through marriage and family, and they are getting old.
Because the books are all courses.
Yes.
Each course I'm putting into book form.
Yes.
So these books are actually like handbooks for a course. So in many temples, they are used for devotee training.
Okay.
I tell that to people, that all you have to do is you read 1, 2, 3 chapters, take some notes, or Prabhupada's quotes are there, and ready is your seminar. You don't have to come up with it yourself and invent it yourself, but it's all there.
But I would imagine that if I come to your course for 1 or 2 years and follow all your books and read them, then I would also learn the way you are doing it, and with my experience, be able to present such a course. Yeah. Because any good teacher can teach any other one.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Although, as I said, since it is the practical application, it requires a bit more realization on the topic. It's not just book knowledge.
No.
So you have to actually have the realization,
Yes.
So it's more difficult to find than just teaching the Shastra, teaching Sri Ishopanishad, Nectar of Devotion. You just teach the book knowledge, basically. But where I'm...
your personal touch.
Yeah, I am giving the practical application. And unless we practice it ourselves, there's no Shakti in the teaching, But there are people who
could potentially become...
No, who simply use the knowledge and they preach it in their own communities, ladies having some reading groups of the books and so on. But to find somebody who's going to travel the world like I'm doing and teaching this, I think this is pretty difficult.
Not impossible.
No, well...
Prabhupada saying impossible is a word which we remove from our dictionary.
Of course not. But what I have found is a person who hopefully will make sure these books will be further available after I'm leaving my body. Sure. Because very often then the books, they're out of print.
Who will put the money and all those things.
And so, but I have one assistant here in Mayapur who prints the books for me and sends them out to me for me.
That's
I
nice.
mean, he's got a courier and so on. I somehow
So
by
maybe-
Krishna's arrangement, I have a pretty good system.
That's nice.
How to get the books to every place where I'm going.
You know what you can do? My suggestion is that there are many rich devotees around the world, and you can tell them, look, if any time I am leaving, this devotee is in charge of printing my book, send some money, print the book, and let them distribute. They'll pay by itself, because when you sell the books, the money will come back.
He
and
doesn't
print.
even need that,
I don't know, whatever.
Yes. And he knows, he's got all the printing files and he knows the printers and this and that. And, I suppose he probably could even pay the money up front to print them. And then if he distributes them, he also gets a bit of income from that.
Sure,
So,
why not? Yeah, it's a nice service.
Yes.
And the beautiful books.
Yeah, so I hope that, this knowledge will spread beyond my time here in this world,
Well, writing a book is very important because the knowledge is printed now, and then anybody can access it and transform his life and improve himself. So that's very important.
Here maybe we'll talk a little bit very briefly about each book.
Why not? I love that.
Spiritual Culture, Krishna's Divine System. This book actually has saved already quite a few marriages.
Wow.
I have a few success stories where people wanted to file the divorce already, and then they got the book.
That changed.
Yeah, so actually the book is all about women, because we women have a very powerful energy, feminine energy, very powerful. And Bhagavatam says we should be the power of inspiration to the man.
Yes.
And not compete with the man.
No. I always say the women are more powerful than men. Me and my brother, we say, women, they can do much better than men because they can play both roles.
Yes,
we cannot. We cannot produce kids unless we have a woman. But women in necessity, they can become, the worker, the earner, the money, the cleaner, the cook, the inspiration. They can do everything.
Yeah, we are good in multitasking, and in many ways we are superior actually to the man.
That's true.
But we have to learn how to use that feminine energy to empower the man. So
it's very subtle energy, which once you know how to do it, man can do anything for you.
Very, very interesting to read.
Wonderful.
Very, very interesting.
Nice.
So then we have sheltering relationships. We talked about that already briefly. So that's about the mentorship counselor system and so on. Then we have the false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker. Yes. False ego, again,
Make us identify.
So subtle. We often miss it. We don't identify it. And easily, in the name of Krishna consciousness, we can feed and boost the false ego instead of subduing and dissolving.
Big problem.
And it's all happening.
Wonderful.
Yes. Also, for example, when we get offended, so often that happens. What is it? False ego crying for justice. And there is a whole chapter on chanting and japa and kirtan. It's almost like a summary of a holy name retreat. Yeah, because the chanting is very instrumental in dissolving the false ego, but we have to know how to chant
properly. Dedicate the proper time for the Lord.
Then we have entering the grihastha ashram. This is a handbook for matchmaking.
That's interesting.
How to see that a boy and a girl are compatible for marriage.
You go through astrology as well?
Well, I don't give astrology more importance than 20%.
Okay.
Because the devotional compatibility sets another
higher
foundation to a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe that.
So, and there's over 200 questions, topics, which both should discuss with a cool head, without pink glasses. That's why I made it pink. Because usually people find each other, they're in love, they have the pink glasses on, they can't see what they get themselves into. And the pink glasses wear off statistically after 2 years. And then people realize, oh my God, why did I marry this person? You know? So we can save ourselves from so many broken heart experiences, all this single motherhood and divorce and oh my God. Yes, it is sad. It is so sad. So and I'm sometimes, serve as a matchmaker because people come to me and ask, can you help me?
It's nice.
So, it's like a handbook for matchmaking. So the parents should read it, the counselors, the young folks who is not married yet. And
Nice.
And then we have Family Life as an Ashram, Secrets of Success, how to create this culture of bhakti in our family life.
Yes.
Many married devotees' home life, you cannot really call it an ashram, a place suitable for cultivating bhakti. And that's why we often make very little advancement and we don't get so much purification because our family life is not an ashram.
The ashram means Krishna is in the center.
Yeah.
And everything we do, we offer to the Lord.
And that is very easily said.
No,
but here we understand what it actually means. Yeah.
Deeply.
So, it's a whole thing.
It's a sacrifice, actually.
It's a whole
if you want to live
journey.
a Krishna conscious life, it's sacrifice.
And in this book, you will also find a chapter on physical intimacy and marriage.
Sure.
How to live this principle of no illicit sex life.
Yes.
There is a little bit of confusion over this, and which can also lead to divorce.
Of course.
So I did a bit of research. I came across amazing episodes and instructions from Prabhupada, which we don't find in the Bhagavatam. And that adds a whole different perspective to the whole thing. So, I hope this will help us to make our family life more balanced and yet more Krishna conscious. And then the latest book, that's the Vanapasa Ashram, Meeting Death with Joy. There is not only a whole section on Vanapasa Ashram, but also about death. What happens actually, how to prepare, how to accompany others in their journey. This becomes also more and more relevant because parents are leaving and devotees are leaving, and we have to know how to give support, at that final stage. So I had the good fortune, I have accompanied quite a few people in leaving. My own parents, I was there, I kept them at home and took care of them, and I have medical education also, so it's helpful. So, very important service. I mean, I'm almost thinking, what's the use of all our preaching if at that crucial time when people are leaving?
Nobody's around you.
Yes, we cannot give association, We need good association all our lives, and especially in that last phase.
I suggest to all our listeners that they buy all this book and they become very, 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 very successful in their life, whatever stage they are.
Yeah, I mean, Vanapasa Ashram, I have to say, I think it's the first book out in ISKCON. Not that topic.
There is no.
I know Jayadvaita Swami is also writing one.
Yes.
And he actually sent me his manuscript to go through, and I sent him mine.
Nice.
So we know each other's manuscripts. But mine is pretty different than his.
Of course.
There can be so many books on that.
From different perspectives.
Yeah, so. Well,
we are.
if you want to support my
How much costs the
preaching,
old set?
try to get the books.
Yeah, how much costs the old set?
Well, that depends where you live.
No, in India, where we are
In
now.
India, the whole set is 2,000 rupees.
Not so much.
But no, the thicker ones are 350 each, and the two first thinner ones, they're 300 each.
Nice.
But of course, in Germany, US,
Yeah, of course.
Germany,
we have to transport
15
them there.
euros and 10 euros.
Transportation is very expensive because they're very heavy, the books,
Yeah.
So.
And I have to send them in 20-kilo boxes. I don't send them in containers
by
or
post,
what. Yeah, to all different temples where I'm visiting. And so
wonderful.
it puts up the price.
Nice. Yeah, I think you're doing very wonderful service for Srila Prabhupada. And is there any parting message you'd like to give to the audience of today's podcast? Because our time is almost coming to a close. Any message for the Radio Mayapur listener to the podcast?
Well, I guess a message is that we have to be very careful that our spiritual life is not external and mechanical, that we don't go externally, mechanically through the motions, but that we really understand bhakti, it's a whole deep internal work. We have to really reflect, introspect, work on ourselves deeply. That's when we actually make progress. Because very easily, Krishna consciousness can just become a matter of getting up on the ladder of hierarchy or having so many followers. Just the other day, a very senior devotee asked me, "Oh, Mataji, how many followers do you have?" And I didn't even realize what he was talking about. I said, "Followers? What do you mean?" I'm not into followers. That's what I said. I mean, we're always chanting Shikshastikam, I don't want any followers. But this social media.
Yeah, it's spoiling everybody.
Yeah, then afterwards I realized, that's probably what he meant, followers on Facebook or YouTube or something. But I'm not getting into that. I'm not advanced enough that it will not affect my false ego, that I just want to be well known, because there is a powerful statement in Nectar of Devotion where Prabhupada says, as long as we want to get the satisfaction of becoming a more and more important person, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, we cannot really relish the sweet taste of devotional service. So when I read that the first time years ago, wow, it really hit me, and I thought, I want to taste the real thing. I don't want to taste the ego satisfaction of becoming a well-known person.
But whether you like it or not, you are a well-known person. And thank you once again for coming to the podcast. It was very sweet of you to come. And,
well, it was my great pleasure.
I hope that we will always bring people closer to Krishna. And you are a great inspiration for many people. So all the devotees who want to come to Mayapur and can come to your seminar. Otherwise, please do invite Devaki Mataji to come to your place.
Yes, and I have to give the credit to my well-wishers, Srila Prabhupada,
of course.
and Swami. Whatever little I can do is by their mercy.
Wonderful.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you once again. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Hare.
Thank you, Devaki.